Right, today's Rangers news is an absolute roller coaster. From a brutal defeat that's got tongues wagging, to Rodgers, Brendan himself, giving unexpected praise to the boys in blue. Then we've got a shocking update on Jack Butland, a potential Croatian wonderkid signing, and a transfer twist that could see Tom Lawrence on his way out. Oh, and wait till you hear Kris Boyd's latest suggestion. It's so wild, you'll wonder if he's been on the bevy. Stick around till the end because, trust me, you won't want to miss the question I've got for you at the finish. Let's dive in. Right, so here's the crack. Brendan Rodgers, of all people, has been bigging up Rangers' pressing game from that Scottish League Cup final. We didn't get the win, but at least the performance had some bite, which is more than you can say for a few games this season. Rodgers reckons it was our discipline and aggression that gave his lot a headache. Fancy that. Praise from him feels about as rare as a sunny day in Glasgow. Now, if you missed that final, here's a wee recap. Rangers pressed well, countered quickly, and gave as good as they got, with Bajrami nicking a goal after Igamane rattled one off Schmeichel. The downside? Yilmaz missed his penalty in the shootout, and it all went pear-shaped from there. Rodgers admitted his own side was sloppy in the first half, which he credits partly to Rangers making life difficult. Diamond and Raskin were at the heart of that midfield battle. Proper engine room stuff, yet despite the grit, resilience, and a couple of cracking goals to claw back the game twice, Clement's side still couldn't get over the line. And here we are now, heading into another old firm clash, with Celtic possibly going 17 points clear if they get the win. Pressure's piling on Clement, especially after that draw with Motherwell and the loss to St Mirren. Chris Sutton's already stirring the pot, saying Clement could get the sack if it all goes south today. The injuries aren't helping, with Tavernier and Sutar out, though. Let's be honest, Tav struggling against Maida has been painful to watch anyway. Here's one to stir the pot. If Clement can't deliver a result today, should Rangers bite the bullet and start looking for his replacement already? Or is that just handing Celtic the title early? Let's hear your thoughts. So, it turns out Jack Butland's injury scare isn't as grim as we first thought. He's dodged a proper bullet, according to Dr. Rajpal Brar. The doc reckons it's a short-term setback, maybe just a week or so, after Butland had a right scare with serious internal bleeding on Hogmanay. That sounds nasty, doesn't it? But if the big man's already out of hospital, it seems he avoided anything major like compartment syndrome, which could have been a disaster for him and for Rangers. Of course, he's missing the Celtic clash, which is a big blow for Clement, especially when Butland's been one of the more solid lads this season, despite a couple of wobbles. Liam Kelly's stepping in for now, so fingers crossed he can hold his nerve on such a big stage. Thing is, with Butland not in the best form lately, maybe this forced break could help him reset mentally and come back sharper. Rangers need him firing on all cylinders if we're going to salvage something from this season. But here's the real chin-scratcher. Should Clement have gone all out to bring in a stronger backup keeper in the first place, knowing how key Butland is? Or has this highlighted a real lack of depth in the squad? Let's hear what you reckon. Well, Rangers are sniffing around Leon Belkar, the Croatian lad from NK Varazdin. Apparently, he's been pulling the strings in midfield and bagged 3 goals in 17 games from a deep position. Sounds promising, eh? But before we all get carried away, we're not the only ones interested. Club Brugge and AZ Alkmaar are in the mix too, so it's not exactly a done deal. Here's the rub, though. Do we even need another midfielder right now? The middle of the park isn't screaming for reinforcements as much as, say, the striker situation. Desires has been about as lethal as a kitten this season, and while Hamza Igamani is doing his bit, you'd think a proper goal-getter should be the top priority. Then there's the money issue. Clement spent big in the summer, and we're still miles off the top of the league. So if we're bringing in Belkar, it better not come at the expense of fixing more pressing gaps. And don't forget, Alex Lowry's likely heading out too, which adds to the midfield shuffle. Here's one for the debate. Is signing Belcar a smart move for the long term, or are Rangers just papering over cracks when the real issue is up front? Over to you. Looks like Tom Lawrence could be packing his bags in January. You heard right. Rangers are reportedly open to letting him go, along with a few others like Ridvan Yilmaz, Rabbi Matondo, and Dezers. Lawrence started the season brightly enough with 5 goals and 2 assists in 15 games, but he's been hit by the old Rangers injury curse again since that Motherwell match in November. He's been MIA, and now with his contract ticking down, the club might cash in while they can. It's a shame, really, because Lawrence did look sharp when he was fit, but if he's not on the pitch, what good is he to Clement, especially when Rangers need funds to wheel and deal in the transfer market? And let's not even get started on Dezers. If Rangers can offload him and his misfiring boots, that might just be the transfer coup of the year. But here's the kicker. Is selling Lawrence in January a smart bit of business to free up funds, or are Rangers risking losing a quality player just as he's getting fit again? Let's see where you stand on this one. Chris Boyd must be having a laugh with this Johnny Evans suggestion. Look, I get where he's coming from, experience, leadership, all that jazz. And we've had success in the past with older heads like Davy Weir and the late Ugo Ehiogu. But Johnny Evans, at 36, with barely any game time at Manchester United and an injury record as long as the Clyde, that's not just a risk, it's begging for a disaster. Rangers are already patching up a backline with duct tape and prayers, and Boyd thinks Evans is the answer. This is a team 14 points off the top and crying out for stability, not another player for the treatment room. Clement needs to prioritize defenders who can hit the ground running, not those who will be sitting on the physio's table while we're battling it out in the league. Then there's this talk about Nathan Patterson potentially returning. Fair enough, he's got a connection to the club, but his injury troubles at Everton haven't exactly been reassuring either. What we need is reliability, not nostalgia. Here's a proper poser for you. Would bringing in a player like Johnny Evans be a stroke of genius for short-term stability, or are Rangers just looking desperate and aiming too low? Let's hear it. If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.